Oh, hello, my fellow chess enthusiasts. We are back at it again with another epic and educational day of chess. Today we are playing one of my favorite subscribers. His name is Matt Ping, I believe, and we have played two games before, but they were more of an instructional way to lose rather than an instructional way to win. So what we're going to do now against the perk, boy, papa perk. I don't actually know how to pronounce it, but I believe this is the perk system. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do the kip system in retaliation, where we make this little structure of pawns. We bring the bishops, we bring the knights, we bring the queen up, and then we castle at will, deciding which way the opponent goes. We will try to be castling opposite, but I can't always make that promise because I realize sometimes nobody castles. And so generally this system works quite well when you don't know what to do. There's a time in chess to play stuff that you know what you're doing when you're doing it, but when you don't know what to do, this is my fallback plan. And so I have another video on it, and basically it works quite well in a number of different openings. And so I suppose I'm going to bring this knight first, just to have the option of castling this way. And so we've got my custom setup. Oh boy, opposite side castling. Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. So what's going to happen right now is I'm going to launch a4, and then he's going to launch his pawns directly at my king. And so we're going to have a game of chess, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just go ahead and do it. I can also kind of force a pawn trade in the center, but I like the idea of just pushing my pawn. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I think we push, 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 and we just try and get a little bit fancy with it. I can also just sacrifice the bishop and see what happens, but I think that would be ill-advised as my pieces aren't really fixated on an attack yet. So I kind of like the idea of just pushing and pushing. Actually, what am I going to do? We're going to push this pawn first. Just pawn advancements, bro. That's what we're going for. I can also capture and have this idea if this knight ever moves, where I'm attacking these two valuable pieces. So that would be something to take note of. Whenever there's two valuable pieces on a diagonal like this, you got to take note. And one other thing just to take note, this bishop is undefended, this bishop is undefended. That is one of the major drawbacks of this opening, but I will go ahead and show you. That's also just a hanging pawn. But is it really a hanging pawn? Because it is also just an open file. But I kind of like the idea of just grabbing it. I mean, he brings, I step back. If he does something with the knight, I can take this for free. So I think we're going to just take here. I think we're going to just do it. Is it a good move? Don't know. I actually don't know. But we can step back, and we can prevent this pawn from pushing forward more. So I think we're going to do it. This bishop is very undefended. Just about as undefended as a piece can get. He's over here alone. Nobody's watching his back. That's a crazy move. That is a crazy move. Make no mistake about it. I think I have to just push the rook forward. I don't think there's really any other refutation in this position. We step forward. If you jump, I'm getting attacked, bro. Okay, we're going to just play this move. I feel like I have to. I don't know if there was any other options. But what if he just doubles his rooks? What do I do then? I guess I can push this pawn forward. But it's looking a little bit spicy. So sometimes what you got to do is you just got to survive the attack, and then you can launch your own attack. And so this whole idea of the two valuable pieces, it does not matter at all in the slightest anymore. I can also step back, defending some stuff and attacking this. And oh boy, I feel like that's pretty strong. He got rid of his pawn. He wants a pawn here. He really wanted his pawn to arrive to this square, forcing this. So that hangs the bishop. Sort of. He can trap me, but then I can just sacrifice again. So we're just going to do it. That bishop kind of sucked anyway. He can trap me, yes. But for one, I don't need to take immediately. I can also just take the knight now. I mean, I'm scared to do it, but we're going to just do it. And then, is it now time for me to do this idea? Boom, 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 boom. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. I'm up a lot of stuff now. His attack Doesn't seem like it's going to break through immediately, at least. I can take the time. Screw it. We're just playing this. Screw it. He's got a queen defending his king right now, and I quite like the idea of just opening up the position. Like this. And yes, he wants to double, but I can straight up just push this pawn. And if he pushes again, I push again. And if he sacrifices, I take. And I think I'll just survive. Right? We push. If he pushes, I take. He takes. And I can do a number of things. So I'm just not even going to think about it for too much longer. His knight could come in. He doubles. Like, yeah, if he does double, I probably have to react to that. We're going to just take. He can't take back because it pins the queen to the king. You always also got to be careful, not only on these dark diagonals, but you also got to be careful when you're on the files. You can't be having your queen and your king on the same file because tactics like this, sorry. Okay, so yes, he's got the double-barreled shotgun pointing right at my king. That is very, very true. But what if I just push forward? Then he pushes forward. Do I even really need to react to that? Like, if he takes, I just take. If he takes, I take. He takes. Do I survive? I think I'll be all right. Like, boom, boom, boom. Sacrifice, take, take. I can also bring this. And if he pushes, we take. If he takes, I take. He takes, I come over. Is his attack stronger than I'm giving it credit? I might have to do some defensive stuff right here. I can also defend with the queen, but that's not something that I love to do. I could also step over at some point, but what's better? We bring the knight, he just kicks us out, correct? So that's not going to work. So I think we push. He will then push again. But in that time, I step back and defend with another knight. So I think we're going to just go for this. Could he sacrifice? Then I take with the knight. Then he takes with the rook. I would take the rook. Key component here is I am defending. Hardly, but I am defending. Right. But now do I jump back here and defend with another piece? So if we push, I'm fairly certain a sacrifice will come. Then I take. Then he takes. Then I'm just a little bit cooked. So what if I step back and defend this with another piece? If he takes, I take, take, take. I think we'd survive. We're going for it. This is no fun. I'm getting absolutely pressured, bro. I'm getting pressured. I'm up a knight. But unfortunately, it's like this bishop or this knight is like my extra knight. And he's got so many points of material pointed directly at my king that it's not even reasonable right now. So he takes. Now what do I take back with? If I take, he jumps in with the knight. But then I step up. He takes with the knight. I take. I think we survive. So the idea, I believe, we take. If he jumps in with the knight, we push. If he takes, we take. He gives us a check. Bro. All right, we take with the knight. We take with the knight. His knight jumps in. We make some chaos on this side of the board. What do I do? So I think I take with this knight, because this knight is defending this pawn. And if I move this knight, then I... So we're just going to go for this. Right. But take, and I think I'm all right. Would love to get this bishop out of my territory. What if I step over? Or what if I just capture? That also makes sense. What if I push? Then he takes, then I take. I think maybe pushing now would be key. Because if I do this, yes, I have this check, but what does that really accomplish? Not a whole lot. So I kind of like the idea of pushing. If he pushes, I just push again. So we push here, here. Or with the rook. Now we need to double check if I'm safe on this side of the board. Take, 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 here, take. I step over. He gets my queen at the end of all of that. So here, here. If he sacrifices with the rook, I take. He takes with my rook. And I'm trapped, bro. So what if I step over? That's the main difference here. I step over. He takes. I take. If he takes, it's not a check. So we're going to just step over. But if I step over and he takes here and I take here, screw it. This is what we're playing. This is what we're playing. King to the side of the board. If he brings the queen, I think I might just be totally toasted. I'm so scared. Okay, so he takes. Yes, that undefended this. For one, I can take here. No, he gives us check. So if I take here, 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 this, check, I step over, you double again. So I think I'll be all right taking with the queen. We take with the queen. He takes the knight. I take back. He takes. I step over. I think I survive. Absolutely just getting destroyed right now. We take. That's scary. Do I block like this? I think so. I have the opportunity to like close this file for a trade. So scared. What if he steps back? I don't know. I think that I'm going to survive here now. That wasn't beautiful in any stretch of the imagination. I just hardly survived this attack. And my attack just never got to arrive. We're stepping over. Okay. Jesus. We're going to push this forward to prevent the queen from getting in. This pawn is hanging, but I'm up a bishop. Jesus. I can also make this pass pawn at some point, which I would like to do. He can also just take, so he can get some of my pawns, which actually becomes a little bit bothersome for me. So what does that do? Is his idea to come over here? I might come here, 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 here. If he hits me with the check, I block here. So I think I have time. Boom, boom, boom. Then if that comes in, I have this. I guess there's this check as well now. Gosh darn it. There's this check. Didn't look at that. And if I step up and the queen comes, I think I'm just going to get checkmated. So if this happens, I step over. If that happens, if I step up, then essentially this is checkmate. If I step back, then this becomes really scary. If I step here, the queen just comes over like this. Then I'm getting checkmated this way. So I think we step back. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to push this pawn, bro. We go here and then I come up. So if this happens, I go... I'm literally just going to lose my queen. Here, here. We're pushing this. Will I survive? I don't know. There's also this check, which is actually quite scary. Right, but I'm going to push here. This check is blocked by this. If take, take. I think we push. We push. Because take, take. This check. I block with the bishop. And how do you stop that pass pawn? Really impossible for me to say if that was the correct move. I'm not even sure if this is winning or losing or what. I step up here. If take. Oh my god, 5 seconds. What am I doing? He takes here, but I get this check. We get a queen. We grab this. There's this check. Oh my god. I think he can get a draw here if he really wants. We step over. And somehow his king is safe. I'm up a rook. I need to bring this piece back. I need to bring my queen back. Check. Jesus Christ. I got a lot of pawns hanging. He's up so many pawns. If not, I take this with check. Okay. We go here. Stuff is sort of defended. What a just absolutely wild, wild, wild west position this is. Like, I'm completely winning, but I have 9 seconds. Against, like, 5 pawn islands, essentially. Like, look at his pawns. Look at this structure. This is the most ridiculous endgame. I don't even know what to think. I can take this with check. I can take this. So I think we take this with check. If he comes this way, I trade the queens. Yeah, if he goes here, I trade the queens. If he goes here, I trap the queen. We trade the queens. We get the queen. We get the queen. By golly. I don't even know what to think about that game. That was wild. That was absolutely wild. And he still has 4 minutes. I have 13 seconds. I don't know what to think about that game. Was I winning? Was I losing? Was my defense all right? Was that sound? Let's check with the computer, and all of those answers will be answered. All of those questions will be answered over there. And here we are in the analysis. And oh boy, I said at the end of the video that I don't know how I feel about this game. Well, now I have looked at it with the computer, and I know how I feel about this game, and I don't feel too strongly. So let's just take a gander at this graph. Mr. Jagged Tooth cryptocurrency valuation graph. So I played 5 inaccuracies, 1 mistake, and 8 blunders. 8 blunders in 1 game of chess. Oh my god. Oh my god. And 66% accurate. So like half of my moves are pretty bad. Now, my opponent, less blunders, but more mistakes and inaccuracies, 56% accurate. And if the graph is horrendous. So let's just hop right into this. The first portion of this game is beautiful. So just take note of my structure here. This structure of pawns with the bishops here and the knights here. Then you can move the queen up and castle either way at will. This is my custom opening. And if we look at up here, you guys can't see my mouse, but 0.3. This opening works against literally anything, bro. Anything. Sometimes it's zeros and sometimes you have a slight advantage. And so if you don't know, like I have not played this structure very often. I'm going to be just straight up with you. And so you do this. It's not an opening. It's a setup. Like it's a structural setup. Okay. So this is another example of my custom opening and it's sort of working. So I castled. It's an inaccuracy, but I wanted to castle opposite to get an interesting game of chess. And oh boy, did we. Now he develops his last minor piece and I launch a pawn. When he sees me launch a pawn, oh boy, he starts to launch a pawn. Then I push, I advance slightly more. He prevents it from pushing any further. And I'm advancing this pawn because I want my B pawn to force this trade. And so once my B pawn is here, it's looking at two different things. You either have to take or let me take either one, okay? Now, the best move for our opponent is to take here, not for the simple idea of trading these two pawns. That's not necessarily what's so important. What's important is what can happen later. And so he advances here. I'm supposed to ignore this because I have this idea that's pretty straightforward. I trap the bishop. The only way to free the bishop is to jump forward with the knight, attacking my bishop, but I can step back. Now your bishop can escape. So let's go with the idea. That's what we're trying to do here. Escape the bishop. But then the knight is trapped. The bishop took away the square for the knight, and he can't retreat anywhere. Okay? So what the computer is generally saying is, forget about it. This is going to happen. So go with the attack. That's why it's suggesting these pawn pushes. But I'm trying to show you, like, I trap the bishop. You take, and then the knight is getting trapped regardless. And you can't go back because the bishop is there. That was the escaping square for the bishop. So I miss it. So this pawn capture in it of itself is not a terrible move, but this was better. I could have won a piece. So this move isn't bad. It was just there was a better move that was better. Now, explain something to me right here. I scoot back. Look at the valuation, 0.7. Then it goes to 0.6. That is slightly over a point, slightly over a pawn. Slightly over a pawn. Remember this. And this is classified as a blunder. Slightly over a pawn. Long story short, I step back. He comes in. I'm supposed to defend with the knight, but whatever. I defend like this, and he's supposed to, now that the rook is here, he can sacrifice the knight because it's looking at my rook, and if he takes my rook, he's looking at my queen. So I basically will have to take. Or I take here, he takes here, I step up, then there's this. No way I'm doing any of that, okay? So that was his idea. He can jump forward with the knight. These guys will see each other. I can either take the knight, but then I lose the bishop, or I can take the bishop, and then I lose the rook, and I'm going to lose this with check. So hard to say. That was the sacrifice. Instead, he steps back, and he sacrifices the bishop on accident. And so here, what he's supposed to do is sacrifice the knight, because when I take, he takes with the queen. So we trade evenly, but his queen will be closer to coming in on this side of the board. So that's why what I said in the game, this pawn push doesn't work because my bishop is not attacked immediately. So I have time to push this pawn and then potentially push and then save myself, or you take and then I get out and it's defended. So pushing the pawn didn't work as well. Now the computer thought about it long enough and it's like, okay, push the pawn, whatever. We take. I'm up a piece. I'm completely up a piece, but he is up an attack. Now, I'm supposed to take a deep breath here and say, okay, the rooks are getting doubled and I'm going to get absolutely obliterated. So I'm supposed to step over. If I step over right now, that attacks the bishop, and the bishop has to go somewhere, which is good for me because right now the bishop is an attacker of this square, and when the rook comes here, that's another attacker of this square. And even if I push my pawn, still the bishop's here attacking this square. So if the pawn ever trades or dies or whatever, then the rooks see this square, and that means the rook is getting to my 7th rank, or he goes with the bishop and hits me with a check. I step over, and then he takes with another check. It's a really big deal. So I'm supposed to step over for the simple idea of it attacks this. And right now there's only 2 attackers on this, and I have 2 defenders. So the bishop would have to move. Don't see it. I get greedy, and I push a pawn. I say, you know what? You're going to attack me. I'm going to attack you. Unfortunately, we take. Now the rooks are doubled. Now stepping over is no longer an option because he has 3 attackers, and I have 2 defenders. So stepping over doesn't work anymore. And I play the right move. I push the pawn, but I should have just stepped over. I'm completely winning. A +3 advantage, completely winning. He takes, taking with the knights is kind of interchangeable. He then attacks this piece. It's essentially my pinned piece because of these rooks. And I step over with the king. And now it's an inaccuracy, but look at the valuation right now. It's 3.5, goes to 2.1. That's more than the other one, and this is an inaccuracy, but the other one is a blunder. I am never going to understand what to think about that, okay? Whatever. Or maybe because it went from winning to losing. I don't know how they do their classification here. So he's supposed to sacrifice the rook, because if he sacrifices the rook and I take, he hits me with this devastating fork. So that's what he needed to see. I'm still winning because I don't have to take back. I don't have to take back. I can just take over here, and we're going to just play a game of chess. So he basically could have got that piece back for free. I'm still winning because I'm positionally winning, and I'm up a piece. But he could have just taken here. If I take back, there's the fork. So essentially, he would take, and I'm not going to take back. I would just do something else, okay? So he takes with the wrong piece. Now I take, and there is no more fork available. The best move is to step over with the king, I presume, because this is going to become an idea, and you need the king to stop that, okay? So if the king is here, this pawn push won't work later on down the line. If you remember, my pawn gets here, and it prevents the king from getting over to stop it. I think he needs to step over now to realize that's a problem. But also grabbing here would be a good idea. You can just grab this pawn, then you're up a pawn. And then not only that, this check becomes scarier because I block, and then you can do something else. I don't know. He gives this check. Gives me time to block with my rook. He takes, I take. He gives me a check. I step over. Now this pawn is defended. What I'm worried about here is the queen coming in. I'm supposed to just be brave and push this pawn and allow this check and say, okay, you give me another check. Okay. You give me another check. Okay. You give me another check. Okay. I'll survive. I will survive. And the reason for that is the queen is blocking the infiltration of the rook, okay? So if the queen comes here with a check, the queen is kind of the tip of the spear instead of the rook being the tip of the spear. And the reason that's important is because it's my king and my queen over here. So if the rook comes first, then losing my queen becomes an actual serious problem. I'm supposed to just ignore this and push a pawn because this is more scary than this check. I'm up a piece. I got pushed really close to passed pawns. I play a very human move. I cut off this infiltration idea. The queen comes here. Now, what both of us are thinking is over here and over here. That is what we are both thinking. Neither of us are thinking about this. So I step over. Now, the reason that this is so bad is because the rook gets in with check. I have 4 options to make. 3 of them lose tremendously. If I come up here, I walk into this check. If that happens, I have to push here. You hit me with this check. I step over. The rook hits me here. I step back. You hit me with another check. I step up. The queen can get in somehow with a check. I'm getting cooked. If I step up here, it's bad. If I step here, you're really, really quick with this idea. I'll have to sacrifice this pawn to come up, to go here. It's not going to work. So if I go here, it's bad. If I go here, it's bad. If I go here, well, it gets real bad. And if I go here, I barely survive. I'm still losing because I'm going to lose a lot of stuff, but I'm still surviving, okay? But I choose the worst of the 4 options. The reason it's the worst of the 4 options is because this idea here. The queen comes in. Say that I step back. This is an idea. If I step over, I'm losing the rook with check. I step up. You can trade the queens. I can't even take this back because there's a pin with the rook. If, where's my move? If I do anything with my queen, I lose my queen. If I step up here, I lose my rook. If I step over like here per se, well then I get hit with checkmate. Check here. If I step over, checkmate. Okay? So I step back, but it's only bad if you switch gears and you bring your queen over here, which is actually kind of hard to do. Kind of hard to do. Then I hang mate in 1. But it's hard to play that because we're not looking for mate in 1. He's looking to win my queen. But unfortunately, I can step up. Or I can push my pawn. I'm still losing after this. Make no mistake about it. You give me this check, then I'm stepping over. You take. I'm getting cooked. Absolutely. But again, he gives the wrong check. I step up, and he takes my queen. But it's not a check. I have time to make a new queen. So I lost my queen, but I made a new one. Look at the switch here. Look at the switch here. If he gives this, it's minus 2.4. If he gives this check, it's plus 10. That is a blunder. We step up. He takes the queen. I make a new queen. I take the rook. He gives me a check. I block. Oh, no, I step up. I should have blocked with the bishop. Why did I step up? That walks directly into this. Now, He takes this pawn. I can block with the bishop and I'm still winning. But for no reason, I step back. Impossible really to see this, all the different variations into the future, but it's a draw. He can check me into infinity, and no matter where I go, I'm getting hit with more checks, okay? So just believe me, I ran through it. It's a draw, okay? And so I step back, and it walks into the draw, but nobody's going to play that because on the board right now, we have capture, 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 capture. If you don't capture, I have capture, capture. So it's hard to not play one of those moves. Like the check doesn't seem to win anything. Even when I step up here, if you win this pawn, it's not with a check. So I understand our opponent's move. You now have a passed pawn. It's not terrible. So then I play a mistake. I'm supposed to give this check to force him out to hit him with checkmate. I don't know. I'm supposed to do this to draw the king somewhere more attackable, okay? Instead of all that, I give a check and I slide my queen back here. Why? Because I'm literally putting all of my pieces together so I can't hang anything because I have 9 seconds, and I'm just consolidating my pieces. I give this check, he steps over, and then I trade the queens. And then that is a wrap. Officially, that is a wrap. Even if he takes, I'm going to take back with the king. We're good to go. I'm up all these pieces. I survived the attack. I survived the mate and won. Neither of us saw it. There were so many just different attacking ideas. These games of chess, opposite side castling, like the amount of blunders made throughout this position here, I should have lost. I should have lost. Blunder, 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 blunder. And then I guess he got the queen. So that's not a blunder, but it's still not good. That was so many blunders. Now, my only excuse is I had like 9 seconds on the clock when all that happened. So if you made it this far, or you would like to play one of these games with me, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Sorry that was a little bit longer than I intended it to be. I hope you learned something. I hope I learned something. I hope my opponent learned something. Thank you so much. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.